Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's real estate authority. That is Barb Schlinker. Barb is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb Schlinker is also a pilot, and Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday. And if you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search Barb and you'll find her on most podcasts like iHeartRadio every week. Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of people's largest assets, their home. So, Barb, what are we talking about today?
Well, Richard, I'm excited about the show today because we've got some topics that we've covered before, but we've got a completely different spin on them today. The first one is, should home buyers wait for mortgage rates and or prices to drop in 2025? And honestly, I think that would be a huge mistake. I think we're right at the edge of potentially, if the rates go down, the buyers are going to come out in force. So we'll go into some detail on that and just talk about a little bit about what the market's doing. And then the next topic is, how should a home seller prepare a house before selling a home? There are a lot of steps. As part of what we do every day is to get home sellers ready to go, because we know that the very first showing is online and it has to be the most impressive first out of the gate. Otherwise, you can't even motivate buyers to come and see your home. So we're going to deep dive into some of the steps that you should consider before selling your house. And then the third topic is, what are the expenses of selling a home? A lot of people ask me that. They kind of, most of the ones I speak to have never sold a home before. They have no idea um, what it's going to cost. It's not the same as buying a home. There are expenses on both sides, but the expenses of selling a home is something that you can kind of just do a quick calculation and get a good idea in your mind on how much you're going to put in your pocket when your home sells. And then the last topic is about how to tell if a realtor is good at selling homes in Colorado or not. And as always, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, we're heading into that spring selling season. The Fed seems uncertain about lowering interest rates while demand is lower than it was last year. So, what do you think will happen to the real estate market in the next coming months?
Well, Richard, all of the experts are saying that the rates are going to be fairly stable this year. They might improve a little bit towards the end of the year, is what the experts are saying right now. But a lot of people assume that if the Fed alters the interest rate either up or down, it's automatically going to translate to a change in mortgage rates. And that's not the case. What we've been seeing for the past probably 2+ months is that the mortgage rates have been relatively stable. That, every day during the week they fluctuate throughout the day. It might go up an eighth, down an eighth, up and down, whatever the stock market is doing. Sometimes they react to that. But the bond market actually is more key than anything else. But at the end of the day, it's been hovering around 6.8 to 6.75 for a conventional loan, and the low sixes for the government loans like FHA, VA, that kind of thing. And what really surprised me today, I did a little searching around on my new favorite search engine, Grok. It's kind of fun. And I was trying to find out, what home buyers are perceiving about interest rates and what they expect to happen. And the big surprise to me is they came up with a huge number that said almost 80% of home buyers are just waiting for either rates to fall or prices to fall before they jump in, which is a huge mistake. And then 25% of those are really waiting for the rates to drop below 5%. But they may not know that you could save a little money, buy down your interest rate, at least temporarily or even permanently, and get a low interest rate right now. So if I were a buyer in this market, what I would be looking at is where is the perfect house? Because in most cases, a homeowner can easily, with very low cost, refinance their loan if the rates do drop down into a more favorable rate. And if the rates drop down, what's going to happen if you have that many pent-up demand buyers waiting to jump on homes is you're going to see the prices go back up, and it's going to offset that little bit of change in rate. So that's why it's really important right now. If you put your home on the market, you absolutely want to be the best home for that area, for that price range. It is the way to get top dollar right now. And I was looking at interest rates today. They look very much the same, up and down just a tiny bit, but in general, conventional for a 30-year fix is sitting at 6.82. And then the VA and FHA loans for a 30-year loan are sitting in the low sixes, 6.22 and 6.24. And what the buyers should do really is just save some money, plan on buying down their rate if the payment's a little bit uncomfortable, and then be ready to refinance when the time is right. What we're seeing in general, as far as market statistics, indicates that new listing volume is up by about 28%. Yet over the last year, the average price has gone up by 4.8%. So here we are, the rates are high, but the prices are going higher, and the buyers are waiting for something that may not ever happen, especially if the rates drop. I think if the rates drop, the prices are going to go up. But because there is more inventory, right now on balance, there's about a 4 month supply. So it means that buyers have more choices, more homes to choose from. They're a little bit pickier, and you have to be priced what I call super realistically to motivate buyers to want to make an offer on your home. And it doesn't mean tank the price. It's just a small adjustment, and we know exactly how to do it to make it work for home sellers. And you have to keep in mind, back in 2018, the prices were much lower. We've seen a huge surge that happened over the boom that went up 35 to 40% in home values. That's more than double what we typically see in this market. And I really don't anticipate that it's going to drop down to where it was back in 2018. So what we'll see is a kind of a modest uptick in the buyer activity, because I think they're kind of getting used to getting over the fact that, okay, the rates are going to be in the sixes for now. Let's plan for it. Try to find a good, affordable home. And you could always refinance the home in order to, if the rates drop down to a rate that you like better. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. And what we're talking about is whether or not buyers should keep waiting for mortgage rates to drop before buying a home. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some things of what home sellers should expect and need to do in these current market conditions. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. We have well over 28,000 buyers in waiting just on our little website. Plus, we can typically match any home with about 800 buyers. That would be a really high match criteria for your home. And we show up with offers on your home. And we offer any seller a free in-home consultation on what to do, what not to do to get their house ready for sale, go over all the closing costs, and show you what you'll put in your pocket when it's time to sell. It's a free consultation, and you're never obligated to sell. Just give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Now, Barb, we're discussing the Fed's recent increase on the Fed borrowing rate and whether or not it has an effect on the housing market. So, what should home sellers expect and do in a market situation like this one?
Well, in general, bidding wars have pretty much ended, although I still have them because I coach the sellers on how to price the home very realistically so they don't have to wait 4 months for their home to sell. And it works very, very well, and they end up getting full market value anyhow. So I just closed a home this week in which the home seller priced it realistically. We had two offers, and we were able to sell the home for $25,000 over asking price. But in general, the key is you want to make sure that you're prepared before you go on the market because buyers are much pickier than they have been in the past. According to the National Association of Realtors, more than 41% of buyers will reject a home if it needs work, and they reject it online. So you don't even know who's out there looking at the pictures, looking at the imagery in the few seconds that you have to make an impression, and they're going pass, moving on to the next one. So one of my colleagues called it like putting a home on the market is almost like online dating, which I think is really funny, but it's pretty true. Um, and some buyers are going to wait for the rates to drop. But if you need to sell right now, it's still a good time. It's still a good market. Make the timing work for you. And you want to hire somebody that really presents your home in the right way all across the board. Because we know that buyers will not even go look at your house if there's a miss on marketing or pricing or possibly both. And I don't know, Richard, you and I have been around for a while. When I started in the real estate business, you know, a few decades ago, they still had the paper MLS books, which I'm sure for the younger generation probably seems very antiquated. But I don't know if you remember that, but the realtors would pull out this big white, it looked like a phone book, and mostly there might have been one picture of the outside, maybe it was black and white, but most of the time there were no pictures. And actually, at that time, the agents had to know the inventory. But technology has completely upended our world. And so it's on the listing agent's shoulder to make sure that the home is presented on the market to attract the buyers to want to come see the home. And so we went from a typical buyer looking physically going inside and looking at 40 to 60, 80 homes while they're trying to find their home to now they may only physically go into 1 to 5 homes before they actually make an offer. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. We can help you at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and she is your real estate voice. She's with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, the owner broker, in fact. And if you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how should you prepare a home for sale here in Colorado. Stay tuned for that.